Just when you thought that this Hunter Biden laptop saga could not get any weirder, they found another laptop. That had even weirder shit on it. Weirder shit such as getting a foot job from a hooker while smoking crack cocaine. That is kind of like rubbing your stomach and patting your head at the same time. That takes a lot of concentration that you don't really associate with a crackhead. There's also orgies, and still we have these allegations of underage activities, which, until they're confirmed, I don't want to, slander the good name of Biden. But what do we got here? We got a big old story that dropped last night. Alleged Hunter Biden sex tapes are uploaded on Chinese video site linked to Steve Bannon. Right, one of the campaign heads of 2016 for Donald Trump. Really, I have lost track of how many different parallels we can draw between 2016 and 2020. Now you can add Steve Bannon making a massive re-emergence right before an election time. Kind of like how he rejuvenated Trump's campaign much earlier in 2016, but the fact that he's still there, and I don't know what's left anymore. Still waiting for that pussy tape, grabbing it though. I don't know. Will it come out? Who knows? Hunter Biden's alleged sex tapes and images showing him using drugs and engaging in sexual acts. I did you the favor of describing it for you for nightmare fuel in the future. With several women have been uploaded on a Chinese digital video platform linked to Steve Bannon's Saturday evening. And let's go to that. No, it's not clear if the footage came from Biden's alleged laptop from hell. That's what Trump called it during the final debate. But some images appear to be from a third-party laptop. There's the new laptop I told you all about. One of the uploaded videos accused Joe Biden of being controlled by China, saying U.S. presidential candidate Joe Biden is 100% controlled by the Chinese Communist Party as one of the most successful political instances of the BGY program. Now, what is the BGY program? He is also a target of the CCP's, Chinese Communist Party's, 3F plan, which aims to fail, well, that's something Joe Biden's very good at, and fell, which is the reason why he wears a life alert bracelet, to weaken, destroy, and kill America. I've done a lot of videos on Chinese Communist Party. One I'm most proud of is the Uyghur death camps, and I'd encourage you all to watch that, of course, and I'll be linking to it as well, because I feel it's some of my most important work, that if you're watching this, that means that you're keenly aware of the nefarious actions that the CCP taken, and I encourage you to get more familiar with that situation as well. The footage has also been censored on Reddit. Well, Reddit's a lefty echo chamber full of smooth-brained dorks who think that they're a lot more intelligent than they actually are. There does not appear to be any confirmation that the footage or images are legitimate. Of course, leave it up to the Daily Mail, those sissies, to hedge their bets. If it smokes like a duck and cracks like a duck, then it's Hunter Biden. Oh, looks like Steve's been doing well these days. Yeesh, getting ready for his role in a couple of months to drive around in a sleigh. Bannon, who was arrested and charged in August with defrauding donors to the Mexican Border Wall Initiative, that is a very weird situation, had access to the contents of the hard drives believed to have belonged to Hunter Biden. The release of Biden's alleged private explicit videos and images comes just 10 days before the presidential election, as the Trump family continues their crusade to portray the Biden family as corrupt. Well, that doesn't take a lot of effort. Still more effort than Biden's putting into his final few days on the campaign trail, but we'll get to that. The New York Post shared a report on October 14th. We already know this. Yeah, and while the Biden campaign has yet to announce that these are, in fact, fake or fraudulent emails or the photos, here's what they have said. They've denied committed any wrongdoing during Joe Biden's time in office. I believe that 100%, yes. John Paul Isaac, the man who ran the computer repair shop where the original laptop was recovered after Hunter Biden didn't pay the $85 to get it back because he must have got sidetracked on the way over to get it back after it was repaired. I don't know. But he made backups of what was on the hard drive because he knew that shit was a little bit funny, kind of like how Tony Bobulinski knew that shit was a little bit funny. So you got two independent sources saying that the Bidens are on the take and they aren't exactly being square with the public. I don't know, man. Old school journalism used to be two independent sources before you can run with a topic, but mainstream media and social media are kind of putting their heads in the sand on this one. Just further proof that old school journalism is indeed dead as a doornail. Isaac said he made a copy of the hard drive and provided it to a lawyer for Donald Trump, and that man's name is Rudy Giuliani. And the FBI now possesses the laptop, but hasn't commented on whether there's going to be an investigation. Keep that in the back pocket for a minute. Burisma advisor Vadim Pozharsky thanked Hunter Biden for the opportunity to meet your father in an email sent in 2015, according to the stash of data given to the New York Post by Rudy Giuliani. But of course, as we remember, the official schedule of Joe Biden makes it seem like, oh yeah, that never took place. It's not in his official calendar. Well, if you're doing nefarious shit, why would it be in an official calendar? Remember, guys, just blindly believe. So the crack orgy was streamed onto GTV, which is not the same GTV from late 90s WWF, but indeed a video streaming site in China. It was founded by Guo Wengai in April 2020. Guo has been accused by the Chinese government of committing fraud, so that means he's probably doing the right thing, because we can't trust the CCP for, well, literally anything. They're about as reliable as a statement made by the Biden campaign. He was accused of fraud, blackmail, and bribery, and is currently living in the U.S. as a fugitive. Well, probably a legitimate refugee, because they have a history of disappearing people, by the way. You know what I mean. But anyways, Guo and Bannon, the founders of GTV website, have faced scrutiny for the reasons that I just laid out. In August, it was reported the GTV Media Group was being investigated by the FBI, that lovely, lovely non-corrupt institution, the FBI, that we all know and love, and Securities and Exchanges Commission and the New York State Attorney General's office, related to more than $300 million in private equity funding. I don't want to immediately dismiss them as deep state operations, but proof's in the pudding with the FBI and certain courts in the Southern District of New York that are wholeheartedly corrupt. So just earmark that one. Last week, Bannon claimed that everything found on Hunter Biden's alleged laptop is true, claiming the emails are proof of deep financial ties between the Bidens and the Chinese Communist Party. Joe Biden has lied about this for years, Bannon told Sky News in an interview. The guy on the emails said absolutely the meetings happened. This is not off or some Russia intelligence operation. That email's correct. The meeting's correct. And by the way, that 10% of equity is Joe Biden's, Bannon said. That's what we know from the previously released emails and the one that Donald Trump made reference to during the final presidential debate. Aren't you the big man? That's the big guy, Trump, but I'll let that one slide. Now, thank God there's another outlet out there, the Washington Examiner. I just pulled up their article on here. So on Friday, just a few days ago, the Washington Examiner obtained dozens of WhatsApp messages, emails, letters, and business proposal documents, the business dealings of Hunter Biden and his associate Tony Bobulinski. A number of files purportedly show him and his partners attempting to leverage Joe Biden's influence to lure investors. The former vice president was repeatedly denied any wrongdoing by him or his son and dismissed Hunter Biden's laptop as a story of a Russian plan during Thursday's presidential debate. So I asked the question earlier what the BGY Plan is, and before we wrap this up, I want to inform you guys, because we already know what the 3F's stand for, because, well, China has a lot of inroads in a bunch of different countries. For all intents and purposes, they have major, if not entire, ownership of most of the infrastructure and major high-end real estate in New York City, as well as San Francisco and much more of California, as well as around the entire country. And up in Canada, they hold a major stake in a large oil sands production company, which here in Alberta is a major source of income for us, Many docks in New Zealand and Australia, and you can look around the entire world, because the way that China wants to take over is without having to fire a single shot. They have a bunch of influence, financial influence, where the moment that they have enough influence to take over the court of public opinion, then they can flip the switch and create a destabilization scenario. That's just my opinion on it. I can see that they have so much financial stake across the entire world that only makes enough sense to me to kind of put together a sort of theory about that. Don't think I'm terribly far off. But here is what the BGY Plan is. This dates back to at least 2017, and this is from Guo Wengai, the same guy who founded the GTV website with Steve Bannon. So, because nobody else was going to provide proper context, I figure I'd do you all the service. Guo stated that China has a complete BGY plan to control the world. BGY stands for the plan, which includes blue, control the internet. That makes sense. You just look at everything that they're doing with Google, because in China, all they do is steal intellectual property, so you have to work with them so they don't just end up stealing it. That's why Google, their little tagline used to be "Don't be evil," and then as soon as they started dealing with China and created a Google search engine over there that is perfectly censored to the tastes and preferences of the CCP, kind of magically dropped that "Don't be evil" tagline. Facebook does this, Twitter does this. They do all of these censorship campaigns so they don't get their IP stolen wholeheartedly, which there's not much you can do with the shady shit that China likes to pull. So you have to make the best of a bad situation if you want to tap into the what are they up to, 1.2 million or billion people. Gold, buy influence with money. I kind of laid that out here a little bit earlier. And yellow, seduce people with sex. Sex sells, baby. Even communists know that. Doesn't sound like much of a conspiracy theory now, does it? That sounds exactly like how you would subvert society. Controlling the means of speech, controlling financial institutions, and controlling physical interaction. And then coincide that with the fall, fail, and fell plan of the 3F's. China's doing some nefarious shit, and they're just using Joe Biden and Hunter Biden as useful fucking idiots. So I go back to the Daily Mail article, and it says, the FBI now possesses the laptop, but hasn't commented on whether there is an ongoing investigation. And I told you to hide that in your back pocket when I first read it. And we got a little bit of an update, just a little bit of an update. DOJ source says FBI dropped Biden laptop investigation. There you go. That's why I told you the FBI sucks a fucking dick. They're a deep state operation, and I don't use that like a tinfoil hat, Alex Jonesian type prediction. But how many people can run the FBI? Comey, Mueller, Strzok, Page. How many people can be in there? How many people can continue to shit in our mouths before we have to disband this corrupt institution? It was put in place in the 1940s. Or perhaps it was a little bit earlier than that, to explicitly get rid of bootlegging. Yeah, and now we're stuck with this redundant, bureaucratically controlled wing of the corrupt establishment. Let's see what this says here. One American News host, Jack Posobiec, tweeted Sunday that the source from the Department of Justice told the network that the FBI dropped the investigation due to supposed concerns over the story from the repair shop owner. Concerns were raised over the chain of custody in the case. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The source indicated that the FBI dropped the investigation because they did not believe the repair shop owner story would hold up in a court, although Mac Isaac provided them with evidence, according to Posobiec, who added that they found zero evidence of foreign involvement, so they can prove the shit's real. But they didn't think that the repair shop owner had a story that could hold up in court. They didn't believe that. This is the same institution that said that Hillary Clinton was found guilty of committing malicious acts, but didn't want to charge her because they didn't believe that the courts would be able to convict her. Sounds familiar, huh? Sounds familiar. The FBI has been in possession of the laptop at the center of the scandal, and a federal law enforcement officer revealed to Fox News that the emails in question are authentic. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if they continue to be authentic. Doesn't matter if they continue to be independently verified from two independent sources. Duh. Doesn't matter that there's another laptop out there. Former Fox News correspondent and journalist Adam Housley pointed out that both the Department of Justice and the Director of National Intelligence verified the legitimacy of the laptop, adding that the Russians had nothing to do with it and its contents of dissemination of its contents. So last line here. I finally got the FBI to start investigating a laptop they have had for over 8 months, tweeted Giuliani. When Rudy Giuliani got the laptop, got the hard drive from the repairman, the FBI already had the originals. They already had the copy of it for 8 months. They did nothing with it. Giuliani brought this all to light, and DNI Radcliffe handed it over, and I think he's on the level. I think Radcliffe's on the level, but handing it over to the FBI was probably not the best idea because, well, predictably, they're just going to sweep this under the rug. Nobody else will report on it, and social media will continue to block everything in regards to it. So if I hear anything else regarding this situation, and I bet my fucking bottom dollar there are more copies of this out there, and we will be getting even more information on it shortly. But for the time being, the FBI has killed this. And if we were to believe institutions like the FBI and mainstream media, Joe Biden's going to be walking to an easy victory next Tuesday. And I know you don't buy it, and I certainly don't buy it. So I will be continuing to cover these stories tirelessly because the truth needs to be out there. And I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you guys to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.